A hidden door is about to open. What's behind it may explain everything they tried to silence. Don't skip. There is a stirring in the heavens, a movement so precise, so calculated, it could never be random. The alignment of this moment, the words reaching your ears even now, is not coincidence. It is divine orchestration. This is not an accident, not a fluke. This is a summoning, a secret moment in time, hidden in plain sight, now opening before you. And though many will hear these words, only a few will understand the weight of what is being revealed. Because this message is not for the crowd. It is for the called. A hidden door, long sealed by unseen hands, is beginning to open. And it is not opening by human force. No, it is moving by decree, by the authority of the Most High, as instructed by His appointed messengers. I, Archangel Michael, come to declare that this is the hour. The door that was concealed, protected, buried beneath layers of confusion and silence, is now trembling open, and it will not wait for another season. This door was hidden by design. It was not meant to be found prematurely, not meant to be opened by the unprepared. It has waited for those who could endure the silence, survive the stripping, and remain faithful through the fog of confusion. This door reveals what was deliberately obscured. It explains the betrayals that never made sense. It clarifies the storms that seemed too precise to be accidental. And it will silence the whispers of doubt once and for all. Understand this, not everyone can hear this message. Only those attuned to the shift in the spirit. Those who feel it in their bones, who dream what they cannot speak, who carry wounds they cannot explain, only they will receive it. If you are here, it is not by chance. It is because heaven chose you. You who have waited in silence. You who have carried questions with no answers. You who have felt forgotten, passed over, pushed aside. All of it was preparation. All of it was part of the divine strategy to bring you to this very moment, to this door. Before you step through, there must be stillness. There must be obedience. Do not run. Do not speak too soon. This is holy ground. What waits behind the door is not entertainment. It is revelation. It carries answers to the things they tried to bury. It holds divine strategy for what comes next. But only the still, the obedient, and the chosen will cross over. The preparation is over. The silence is almost complete. The door is moving. And you are about to understand why. Type "I am chosen" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 666 is now surrounding you. Listen now, do not look away. Still yourself. Still your thoughts, your fears, your distractions. The next few minutes are critical. Not merely important, critical. Because what is being opened before you is not an opinion, not a suggestion, not even a hope. It is a decree. It is a divine unveiling. A message straight from the courts of heaven delivered to you in the appointed hour. And you are not to delay. Before sunrise, something will shift in the unseen. Before the world stirs again, the veil will thin. Before another moment passes, the invitation to cross through the hidden door will be presented to your spirit. The door, the one they hid, the one you dreamed of but couldn't name, is opening, and you must feel it. You must sense it, and above all, you must respond to it. This is not a message for the many. This is a message for the marked. I, Archangel Michael, have been sent as the voice that breaks the silence. I do not come to comfort false peace. I come to disrupt. I come with the sword of clarity and the mantle of divine urgency. Because silence is ending. Yes, the silence that has cloaked your purpose, the silence that has muffled your prayers, the silence that felt like abandonment. It is ending now. Heaven is breaking protocol for you. Let it be known, not everyone is meant to hear this. Not everyone is meant to recognize the door. Some will scroll past. Some will dismiss. But you, if your spirit is trembling even now, if your heart is racing and you cannot explain why, you are the one this was meant for. There is a mystery rising around you, and that mystery is not to confuse you but to summon you. For too long you've questioned your sensitivity. You felt too much, known too much, carried things you were never told. You sensed betrayal where others saw peace. You felt tension in rooms where others laughed. And you began to wonder, was it you? Were you the broken one? Oh, beloved. No, you weren't broken. You were being trained. You were being guarded. You were being hidden by divine design so that in this moment, when the hidden door begins to shift, you would be ready to hear what others would miss. The timing is not random. You didn't stumble on this message while looking for comfort. Heaven placed it in your path because you were already chosen for this revelation. The life you've lived, the pain, the delay, the strange warfare that never matched your circumstances, all of it has been evidence of this, that a hidden door would open in your time, and you would be the one to walk through it. Do you understand the weight of this moment? You have cried alone in rooms where no one noticed. You've prayed prayers that seemed to return void. You've waited, warred, wept, and yet something inside you refused to die. That something was your purpose. That something was your destiny. And heaven never lost track of it, even when you did. What you're feeling now isn't confusion. It's recognition. Your spirit remembers this door. It has waited for this vibration, this sound, this moment. And now it stands before you. You are on holy ground. So listen now. Let your heart hear what your mind cannot yet process. You were silenced. Yes, they muted you not because you were weak, but because you were dangerous. Dangerous to the lies, dangerous to the narratives, dangerous to the shadows that had grown comfortable in your absence. But the silence ends now. The reversal has begun. The door is opening, and this time, they cannot stop it. This is your alignment. The sorrow, the betrayal, the confusion. It has all led to this door. Divine convergence. Supernatural strategy. Prophetic fulfillment. The pain was not punishment, with preparation. The door didn't forget you. It waited for you to become who you were meant to be. So let the heavens witness it. You are ready now. Lift your eyes. Still your soul. And speak no fear. Say aloud, I receive this door. I receive this moment. I receive the restoration that comes with it. Because what you speak now, the heavens will seal. Type I am anointed in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1122 is now activated. They thought you'd never notice. They believed the veil was thick enough. That the smoke and shadows, the gossip and the quiet, the smiles that never reached the eyes, they thought it would keep you numb, blind, docile. But your spirit began to itch. Your soul began to stir. You began to feel it. The watchers. You began to sense it. The strange timing of events. The odd stares. The way people pulled back when you asked too many questions. Something wasn't right. Something was being hidden. You didn't imagine it. There have been whispers behind doors. There have been movements in silence, records erased, stories twisted, and intentions veiled beneath layers of fake kindness. Some of those closest to you, those you trusted, those you honored. They were part of it. Maybe not all knowingly, but many willingly. Because you carry something they never could explain. And what they could not explain, they tried to erase. But here's the mystery rising around you now. The more they tried to bury it, the more it grew. The more they tried to silence you, the louder your presence became in the spirit realm. Because what they didn't know is that you weren't just a voice. You were a vibration, a spiritual frequency that could not be contained. Even when you went quiet, you were still being heard in the heavenlies. And that's what made you dangerous. You began to feel the betrayal. Not just human betrayal, spiritual betrayal. You began to notice strange behavior. People who were once warm grew cold. People who once celebrated you became distant, passive-aggressive, hostile even. Opportunities were suddenly removed. Doors shut without warning. Promises broke without cause. You began to wonder, was it sabotage? Was it your fault? But deep down, something told you, this is more than people, this is something darker. Yes, it was a veil, a spiritual distortion, a calculated disruption. You were surrounded by people who wore masks while studying you, copying you, draining you. Some smiled in public and poisoned you in private. And the worst part, you felt it. You knew it. You saw glimpses. But you couldn't prove it. So you stayed silent, confused, torn, and internally grieving a truth you couldn't speak. But now the disruption is becoming divine confirmation. What they tried to silence is about to speak for itself. What they tried to block is about to be uncovered. The hidden door is tied to your ability to discern what was always there, but veiled. This is not just a message of comfort. It's a warning. The fog is lifting. The watchers are being exposed. The records are being unsealed. And every strange moment that didn't make sense is about to make perfect sense. What don't they want you to see? They don't want you to see how powerful you've become. They don't want you to recognize how far you've come. They don't want you to find out that the door they tried to shut wasn't even theirs to close. That the access they pretended to give you was never theirs to permit. That the purpose inside you is not something given by man, but ordained by God. That's why the emotional confusion was so relentless. That's why your peace was targeted. The warfare wasn't just around you. It was in you. You felt torn between loyalty and liberty, between protecting others and preserving your purpose. You didn't want to believe they would try to hold you back, but something inside you knew they were afraid of what would happen if you ever realized who you were. This is your moment of realization. This is the doorway of remembrance. Your instincts were never wrong, they were suppressed. But now, heaven is breathing on them. Your sensitivity is not a weakness. It is a prophetic radar. The disruption around you has been confirmation all along. You must see this clearly now. What you've been feeling is the trembling of divine timing. The inner unrest is not confusion. It's activation. Heaven is pushing you to recognize the cover-up, to question the silence, to realize that what they hid is what you were born to reveal. This is why the door is opening, because you are finally ready to ask, what don't they want me to see? Here's the answer. They didn't want you to see that you were always the key. The very thing they were trying to protect themselves from was you. Your voice, your discernment, your authority, your clarity. They knew if you ever stepped through the hidden door, nothing would be the same again. And now you are beginning to see. You're not paranoid. You're prophetic. You're not confused. You're being called. You're not alone. You are chosen. The door is here. The disruption with the signal. The unraveling is the proof. And what they tried to bury is about to bloom. If this message resonates with you and you feel moved to support, consider giving a super thanks with contributions of up to $10. Your kindness helps us bring more powerful content your way. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating via PayPal using the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss a message like this. More prophetic revelations, urgent warnings, and divine insights are coming straight to you. Type "I am ready" in the comments if this spoke to your spirit. Blessing code 7744 is now covering your home and your mind. The moment you came into this world, the war began. And not because of what you had done, but because of who you were always going to become. Before you spoke a word, before you walked, before you learned to read or pray or even understand the weight of your own presence, darkness took notice of you. Hell doesn't attack what isn't holy. Hell doesn't study what isn't a threat. The battle didn't begin with your mistake, your failure, or your loss. The battle began with your existence. You have always been a marked one. Not by man, but by God. Chosen. Heaven. Sent. And that is why the attacks were so vicious. That is why the patterns of conflict, rejection, betrayal, and sudden resistance followed you into different seasons, different cities, different relationships. You kept trying to find peace in the natural, not realizing the war was always spiritual. The people were not the origin. They were the pawns. The confusion was not circumstantial. It was strategic. Because the enemy knew something you had not yet accepted, that you were born to carry power, to deliver legacy, to break cycles, to see clearly. You were born with authority already embedded in your voice. You were born with divine insight stitched into your bones. This was never random. None of it. The delays. The sabotage. The emotional sabotage. The slander. The spiritual heaviness that came without explanation. The anxiety in rooms where nothing seemed wrong. The dreams that didn't make sense. The sudden financial tightness right before breakthrough. The mysterious disappearances of support. These were not isolated. They were coordinated, aimed directly at your identity. Because your identity was always the key to your destiny. The enemy has feared your realization. He feared the day you would wake up and realize that the warfare wasn't punishment, it was proof. That the battle was never about your personality. It was about your assignment. You see, people think the enemy wants to steal your money, your joy, your time. But what he's really after is your clarity. If he can cloud your clarity, he can mute your movement. If he can distort your perspective, he can delay your purpose. But what the enemy forgot is that heaven had already calculated the attacks into the outcome. Nothing caught God by surprise. You were chosen for the conflict, but more than that, you were anointed to survive it. And heaven has been watching. Yes, every tear, every betrayal, every silent scream into your pillow, every sleepless night when your chest felt tight and your prayers felt unanswered. You thought God had stepped back, but the angels had actually stepped in. You didn't see them, but you felt them. At calm when you should have broken. At peace when you should have lost your mind. That moment when you almost gave up, but didn't. That was divine backup. That was divine reinforcement. That was a covenant that cannot be broken. You have not been abandoned. You've been preserved. Hidden not for rejection, but for revelation. Understand this now, deeply and without fear. The reason you felt so targeted is because you carry something eternal. You were not created to fit in. You were created to interrupt cycles, to shatter lies, to expose dissection. That's why the enemy could not afford to let you rise too early. That's why the warfare intensified as you grew in spiritual awareness. Because every time you rose from something that should have destroyed you, it shook the foundations of darkness. Heaven has been preparing you in the shadows. And now, as the hidden door begins to crack open, the timing aligns with your readiness. You are no longer the same person who entered the wilderness. You are no longer the silenced, shaken soul who questioned their value. You are rising, not just emotionally, not just intellectually, but spiritually. And with that rise comes responsibility and access. This is where pain becomes power. This is where confusion becomes clarity. This is where you begin to realize the war wasn't for what was around you. The war was for what was inside you. Your gift, your authority, your voice, your discernment, your mantle. And now, with that understanding, you will not move the same. You will not pray the same. You will not walk the same. Because now you know, this was never about them. It was about your identity in the spirit realm. It was about heaven's assignment on your life. And the battle you survived has now become the evidence of your anointing. So don't just stand. Stand in power. Don't just wait. Wait in confidence. Don't just pray, command. Because the hidden door is responding to your awakening. The secret place that held your instructions, your strategy, your vindication. It is now being unlocked because your spirit has aligned with heaven's timeline. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not forgotten. You are becoming. And the very pain that tried to paralyze you is the same pain that has proven you. What heaven started in you, no hell can cancel. You were the threat all along. Type "I am a warrior" in the comments if this truth hits your spirit. Lesson code 4488 has been released over your house and your calling. Hear this, and hear it well, for the hourglass is turning. The countdown has begun. Within 72 hours, the spiritual winds will shift. Within 72 hours, the unseen will confront the visible. What was stagnant will begin to stir, and what was hidden will cry out to be known. This is not metaphor. This is not symbolic. This is a prophetic timestamp. You are entering a divine threshold, and whether or not you are ready, the door will open. There is movement in the spirit. There is a vibration that is not waiting for permission. This is not a passive season. This is an hour of divine confrontation. The spiritual tension you feel is not just resistance. It is the build-up before a supernatural release. Someone, somewhere, even as you hear these words, is being prompted by heaven to speak, to act, to expose, to shift the narrative that has surrounded your name, your story, your life. You are not waiting for man to give you access. You are being positioned by divine force. And that positioning is not dependent on acceptance, applause, or agreement. This is a sovereign move. And with it comes weight. You must be spiritually still, emotionally ready, and prophetically aligned, because heaven is about to respond to your obedience in ways that may shake every part of your life. You will see disruption. You will feel things break away. But don't panic. Don't misinterpret the crumbling as chaos. It is confirmation. The old structures that protected false narratives must collapse before the truth can be revealed. The door will not open into comfort. It will open into confrontation. This is where discernment is your shield. Because not everyone around you will celebrate this shift. Some will grow silent. Some will become strangely distant. Some will turn, not because they're your enemy, but because the light of truth will expose what they weren't ready to confront. There will be discomfort, yes, but that discomfort is the sign that God has moved. Not everything will feel peaceful, because what's being shaken needed to be removed. And what remains after the shaking will be your foundation for the next level. You've asked for clarity, now you must prepare for confrontation. You've asked for truth, now you must brace for exposure. You've prayed for restoration, now you must accept the exit of what no longer fits the version of you heaven is revealing. Heaven is preparing to act on your behalf in such a way that it will feel like everything is happening at once. Back-to-back spiritual signals. Back-to-back revelations. Conversations overheard. Secrets uncovered. Opportunities presented suddenly. Prepare yourself. Don't be surprised when the very thing they said would never happen begins unfolding before your eyes. What you are stepping into is not accidental. It is not circumstantial. It is heaven ordained. And I must warn you, the enemy has already launched a final wave of distraction to keep you from recognizing the gravity of this moment. Strange messages, unexpected conflict, emotional fatigue, a sudden temptation to settle, a resurfacing of people you thought were gone. This is not random. This is a last-ditch attempt to keep you from staying in spiritual position. Do not move. Do not give in to fear. Do not break formation. You must stay alert, stay discerning, stay still. Because when the door opens, it will not wait. It will not pause for your comfort. It will open in real time, and you must be ready to recognize it, respond to it, and walk through it without hesitation. You have been spiritually conditioned for this. Every moment of silence, every season of confusion, every midnight cry, it was all preparation for this time. You were not wasting time. You were gathering spiritual intelligence. And now, that intelligence must become action. Stillness is not weakness. In this moment, stillness is warfare. Heaven is not asking you to fight. Heaven is asking you to stand. Stand in silence. Stand in confidence. Stand in knowing that you are on the brink of supernatural reversal. You are in the overlap now, the moment between what was and what is to come. And in that overlap, heaven is deciding who is ready. Heaven is watching for movement, posture, obedience. Not perfection, positioning. You don't need to prove anything. You just need to stay aligned. Because the door will open with or without your permission. The timeline has already shifted. Mark it. Within 72 hours, the air will change. The way people speak to you will change. The pressure will increase, but so will the clarity. And with clarity comes decision. What you choose to do in that moment will determine how you walk through this next chapter. But do not fear, you have already been equipped. You do not need to search for the door. The door is searching for you. And when it finds you, all the mystery, the confusion, the spiritual fog, it will break like dawn. You will understand why it had to be this way. You will understand why it couldn't happen earlier. You will understand who you are, and why they feared it. Let the winds carry this warning into your spirit. Heaven is watching. The earth is groaning. The timeline is tightening. You have 72 hours. Be still. Be alert. Be ready. Type I am aligned in the comments to confirm your awareness. Blessing code 3939 is now covering your steps and your atmosphere. Now is not the time to speak. Now is not the time to explain. Now is not the time to defend yourself to those who already decided who you were without asking heaven first. Let the records of heaven speak louder than the assumptions of man. Let the divine proof outrun the human speculation. You are standing in a moment that does not call for action in the flesh, it calls for surrender in the spirit. Because when heaven moves, your silence becomes sacred. Listen carefully. Silence is not absence. Silence is strategy. You are not being ignored. You are being insulated. There are things happening right now that your eyes cannot see but your spirit can feel. The atmosphere is heavy because divine transactions are underway. But here is your instruction. Wait. Wait in stillness. Wait in reverence. Wait like a soldier under command. Because heaven is in motion, and anything you do out of frustration or fear could cause spiritual friction. This is not the time to correct the narrative. This is the time to let it collapse on its own. They are watching, but not for truth. They are watching for a reaction. You not give it to them. Hold your peace. Your silence is your sword. Your stillness is your shield. When you respond in stillness, heaven responds in power. When you refuse to defend yourself, angels stand to defend you. When you do not retaliate, divine justice begins to accelerate. You are not weak. You are not passive. You are strategic. And that strategy comes from spiritual discipline. You are in a narrow corridor right now, a prophetic threshold. The next step must be intentional, calculated by the Spirit, not driven by the soul. That means you must resist the urge to vent, to retaliate, to argue your position, to prove your value. The time of proving is over. This is the time of positioning. This is where heaven wants to see, can you be still while the earth shakes? Can you be quiet while rumors rise? Can you trust the divine when the natural gives no reassurance? The command is clear. Do not react. Watch it. Wait. Listen. And when the time is right, heaven will release a sound that confirms what you've been sensing in your soul, and that sound will not come through a text, a call, or an announcement. It will come through your spirit, a deep knowing, a divine peace, and you will recognize it, not by volume, but by authority. Stillness activates divine intervention. While you rest, angels are being dispatched. While you remain silent, assignments are being rerouted. While you are sitting quietly, heaven is speaking loudly. In boardrooms, in dreams, in places where your name is being mentioned with favor. You don't need to be in the room. Heaven has already spoken on your behalf. Yes, this is your season to observe, not obsess. Let your enemies exhaust themselves. Let the confusion expose its own roots. Let the schemes boomerang without your assistance. You said enough. You've explained enough. You've tried long enough. Now let the divine handle what the natural could never touch. Your warfare has shifted. Where before you were required to speak, now you're required to seal your mouth and open your eyes. The kind of breakthrough that is coming cannot be manufactured by manipulation, nor sped up by panic. It is arriving according to divine rhythm, not emotional pressure. So what must you do in this hour? You must pray, not just with your mouth, but with your posture, with your obedience, with your quiet choices, with your hidden sacrifices, with your refusal to be pulled into lesser battles. Let your prayer be your boundary. Let your fasting be your focus. Let your silence be your sword. Say it now. I will not explain what heaven has already approved. There are those who are waiting for you to misstep. watching from the shadows, whispering in the dark. But they have no access to what God has sealed. They cannot stop what they were never ordained to start. So be still and know that your defender has not slept. Your avenger is not late. Your covering has not lifted. This is the part where the narrative flips without your hand on the wheel. You must declare this into the atmosphere. I trust God more than I trust what I see. And every time doubt rises, silence it with that declaration. This is your hour of holy detachment. Detach from outcomes. Detach from human validation. Detach from the urge to be understood. And in that sacred detachment, divine clarity will arise. And from that clarity will come supernatural instruction, but not until you've proven that your stillness is deeper than your frustration. Heaven wants to know, can you be trusted with power you don't yet see? Can you carry silence like a weapon? Can you remain still long enough for divine vengeance to finish its work? Because when the door opens, and it will open, it won't need your words. It will only require your obedience. So right now, wherever you are, place your hand on your heart and speak this aloud. I will not panic. I will not react. I will remain still, and I will be protected. Let that be your mantle in this moment. Let that be your shield. Let that be your offering of trust. Type I will be still in the comments if this word finds you ready. Blessing code 1818 is surrounding your decisions and protecting your next step. There is a shift happening, not around you, within you. And this shift is not surface. It is not emotional. It is not fleeting or fragile. This shift is foundational. It is spiritual. It is irreversible. Something deep inside you has crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. You are not the same. You are no longer who they remember. The one who bowed to fear. The one who needed permission. The one who second-guessed every decision. Who apologized for breathing too loudly or shining too brightly. That one is gone. You have outgrown their perception of you. You have evolved beyond their expectations. You are no longer bound to the image others formed in their minds during your wilderness season. They saw your delay and thought it was your destiny. They mistook your silence for surrender. But what they never saw, because they weren't meant to, with the fire that God was stoking in your belly behind the veil. They didn't witness the late nights of prayer, the private weeping, the quiet rising. They didn't see how heaven was training you in secret. And now, as the hidden door swings open, you're not just exiting a season, you're emerging from a transformation. You were hidden, yes, but not forgotten. You were delayed, yes, but not denied. What was forming in you during the silence was far more powerful than anyone could have imagined. This wasn't about building your platform. This was about building your identity. Heaven didn't care if they understood you. Heaven cared if you understood yourself. And now you do. And that understanding is dangerous. You are not a victim. You are not the leftover. You are not the almost. You are not the exception to the promise. You are the living proof of what grace can resurrect. You are the testimony that silence is not the absence of God, but the preparation of His glory. And the shift you feel is not wishful thinking, it is prophetic repositioning. The armor fits now. The voice is clear now. The calling is undeniable now. You are rising. Like fire through dry wood, your emergence is quick, unapologetic, consuming. And it should be. Because the time you spent dimming your light for their comfort is over. The energy you spent trying to make them believe in you is being reallocated to purpose, to passion, to forward motion. They cannot recognize you because you're no longer in their category. You have become other, set apart, marked, transformed by the very fire they thought would consume you. And now, their silence is not your prison, it is your protection. Their absence is not rejection, it is divine clearance. The withdrawal of false support has created space for authentic alignment. The removal of old voices has made room for God's voice. And that voice is declaring one thing over you now. You are ready. Ready to speak what once choked in your throat. Ready to walk where you once hesitated. Ready to reign where you once survived. You are no longer waiting for the door. The door is waiting for you to see that you're not who you were. And you need to hear this clearly. You owe no one an apology for your elevation. This is not arrogance. This is accuracy. You are not stepping into a fantasy. You are stepping into a fulfilled word. You are not walking in favor because you manipulated your way forward. You are walking in favor because you were faithful in the fire. Yes, this is graduation. Not just escape. Not just relief. Graduation. You are moving from survival to strategy, from silence to supernatural speech, from wandering to ruling. The door that's opening isn't a random opportunity. It is your ordained release. And it is opening now, not because of who you were, but because of who you've become. You've been tested, refined, tried, broken open, and rebuilt in secret. You fought wars no one saw, made choices no one understood, walked away from things they still think you miss. But you know the truth now. You know who you are. You know why the attacks were so strategic. You know why you couldn't fit where others settled. You were never meant to blend in. You were made to stand apart. Your presence now carries weight in the spirit. When you speak, atmospheres shift. When you walk into rooms, darkness reacts. Not because of you, but because of the God who walks with you. And that is why the door had to stay shut until this moment. Not to punish you, but to preserve you. If it had opened too soon, you would have doubted your own authority. But now, you know. And because you know, the door can open without delay, without fear, and without apology. Let this truth settle deep in your spirit. You are no longer a question mark. You are an exclamation point in the hands of God. You don't need confirmation from people who lost access to your process. You don't need validation from those who never survived your pain. You've already been signed, sealed, and now you are being sent. Say this now with boldness. I am not who they remember. I am who God has revealed. Walk forward. Walk dull. Walk like you've seen the inside of the fire and made it out with revelation in your bones. You carry the fragrance of oil pressed in silence, and the enemy is terrified because you finally believe it. Type I am rising in the comments if this speaks to your spirit. Blessing code 555 is now unlocking your new name and your new level. Let the veil be torn. Let the secrets now be seen. Let what was once concealed behind the curtain of silence rise to the surface in the presence of divine clarity. This is not just a shift. This is revelation. And the revelation is this: you were silenced because of your destiny. You were hidden because of the power your presence would provoke. You were isolated because the truth inside of you held the weight to dismantle entire structures built on lies. They tried to erase you. Not because you were wrong, but because you were right. Because you carried insight before its time. Because you discerned what they tried to cover. Because you heard the whispers, you saw the patterns, you felt the dissonance when everyone else seemed comfortably blind. And when you asked the wrong questions were, rather, the right questions, the pressure increased. The pushback came. The room grew quiet. The attacks grew louder. But the door, oh, the door, the hidden door that heaven sealed, it waited. It waited through your sorrow. It waited through your silence. It waited through every season they tried to keep you asleep. But now, that door is opening not just as a rescue, not just as an exit. It is opening as an answer. And within it lies the revelation that will not just explain your past, but activate your future. You were never wrong to question what didn't feel right. You were never crazy to sense the tension in conversations that felt rehearsed. You were never wrong to pull back, to detach, to go silent when your soul began screaming. You were not broken, you were awake. And they could not stand the sound of someone awake in a world where most choose to sleep. Heaven has recorded everything. Every moment they dismissed you. Every time your name was brought up in manipulation. Every moment your absence was weaponized against your value. The records are intact, and now the reversal has begun. Heaven is calling you out of the shadows, not as a victim of a system, but as a voice for a generation. You are not just stepping through the door. You are becoming the door for others to walk through. This revelation is not just information. It is transformation. You are seeing it now. All the pain had purpose. All the loss had language. All the silence had structure. Because the very things that seemed to delay you were the same things that disciplined your discernment. And without that discernment, you wouldn't be able to carry what is being placed into your hands in this hour. There is strategy behind the pain. There is blueprinted design in the delay. There is promotion that is directly linked to your persecution. And you must hear this clearly. Heaven is not confused about who you are. There is no debate. There is no hesitation. You were not called to merely observe. You were called to disrupt. You are not just a participant in prophecy. You are a fulfillment of it. And the door that is opening is not just giving you access. It is giving you divine evidence. You are being seen. Fully. Finally. Righteously. And not through the lens of brokenness. Not through the distorted eyes of those who judged your process without understanding your promise. You are being seen as heaven sees you, as a chosen one, as a redeemed one, as a carrier of revelation that could not be silenced. You are the one they tried to bury and failed. You are the one they tried to forget, and heaven remembered. You are the one they left for dead, but resurrection has spoken. This door is divine closure and cosmic unveiling. What lies beyond it is not just restoration. It is revelation of who you are, of where you're going, of why you survived. So breathe, not just with your lungs. Breathe with your spirit, because the weight is lifting. The clarity is returning. The whispers are being replaced by a roar, and that roar is you, walking in the fullness of who you were always created to be. Say it now, out loud if you must. I am not who they buried. I am who God has resurrected. Because this is not just about vindication. This is about visibility. You are about to be seen, not for what they said, but for what heaven declared over you before the foundations of the earth. And no lie, no plot, no accusation, no misunderstanding has the authority to override what God is now revealing. This is the moment you become unrecognizable to the version of you that suffered. This is the hour that the oil begins to flow publicly. This is the place where heaven's yes drowns out every human no. Welcome to the revealing. Welcome to the other side of the silence. You have not just survived. You have been commissioned. You have not just endured. You have been unveiled. And this door is not the end. It is the beginning of your next authority level. If this message resonates with you and you feel moved to support, consider giving a super thanks with contributions of up to $20. Your kindness helps us bring more powerful content your way. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating via PayPal using the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. Subscribe now so you never miss another message like this. Prophetic insight, spiritual guidance, and revelation awaits. Type "I receive the revelation" in the comments. Blessing code 7474 is now unlocking doors of clarity and promotion over you. This is the turning point, the moment of holy glee. The silence is broken, the door is open, and now, heaven is waiting. Not waiting for perfection, not waiting for credentials, not waiting for applause. Heaven is waiting for one thing only, your yes. Not just a verbal yes, not a passive yes, but a bold, earth-shaking, destiny-activating yes, the kind of yes that realigns timelines and awakens dormant gifts, the kind of yes that shifts angels into position, the kind of yes that hell cannot stop once it's spoken. There is a reason the warfare intensified just before this moment. There is a reason distractions came like a flood. Because the enemy always fights hardest when your decision carries the weight of generational change. This isn't just about you. This isn't just about your breakthrough. This is about the lives that will never be the same once you say yes to what God has placed inside you. This is about the children, the bloodline, the cities, the nations tied to your obedience. And right now, in the spirit realm, a stillness hangs. Not because heaven is unsure, but because you must choose. You must activate your next level. You must step forward, speak aloud, declare boldly, "Yes, Lord. I receive it. I will go. I will carry it. I will be who you called me to be." This yes is not for the faint of heart. This yes costs. But this yes births purpose like you've never imagined. This yes pulls vision out of hiding. This yes opens portals of divine instruction. You've been asking God for signs. You've been praying for confirmation. But the truth is, heaven hath been waiting for your confirmation. The moment you say yes is the moment alignment begins to accelerate. The moment you say yes is the moment assignments are activated. The moment you say yes is the moment destiny wakes up from the dormancy of delay. Say it now. I say yes to my calling. I say yes to my anointing. I say yes to the divine door that is open before me. With that yes comes access. Access to gifts you've only tasted in glimpses. Access to visions that once came in fragments, now flowing with clarity. Access to spiritual instruction that bypasses man's systems and flows straight from the courts of heaven. Some of you will begin to dream differently after this yes. Some of you will begin to speak, write, build, lead, serve, or prophesy with a weight and clarity that was previously locked inside the silence. You are not waiting for an audience. You are responding to an assignment. You are not building for attention. You are building from instruction. And the Spirit of God is hovering even now over your life, ready to breathe on what you dare to say yes to. This yes is not without risk, but it is never without reward. What looks risky to your flesh is revival to your spirit. You've already survived more than enough to know that fear cannot hold what faith has claimed. You've already proven that you can endure. Now it's time to walk in authority. God is asking for your trust. He's not asking you to know the full plan. He's not asking you to understand every detail. He's asking for your agreement. Because when your mouth agrees with heaven, the earth must respond. Doors must open. Your assistants must bow. Provision must locate you. Timing must adjust. Let your yes be your weapon. Say it again. Yes, Lord. I align. I obey. I walk through the door. There will be instructions. There will be divine nudges. There will be moments where God asks for physical action that matches your spiritual alignment. It may look like stepping away from what no longer feeds your spirit. It may look like writing the vision that's been stirring in your heart. It may look like reaching out to someone specific, building something new, or confronting something old. But whatever it is, your yes will be tested in action. Don't hesitate. Don't wait for approval from people who never had the authority to anoint you. Don't shrink back because of past failures. Don't tell yourself you're not ready. If you weren't ready, the door would still be closed. The very fact that this message has found you is the evidence that your time has come. Heaven does not waste revelation, and heaven does not open doors to those who haven't been prepared. Your wilderness, your pain, your seasons of silence, they prepared you for this activation. Your yes is a key, and that key unlocks not just opportunity, it unlocks your voice. It unlocks your vision. It unlocks your kingdom authority. What once felt vague will now feel urgent. What once felt heavy will now feel sacred. Because purpose, when activated, doesn't weigh you down. It lifts you into divine rhythm. This is your moment. Don't let it pass. Say it again and seal it. Yes, Lord. I'm ready. I will run. I will hide. I will walk into everything you've prepared for me. Now watch what happens next. Watch what aligns. Watch what accelerates. Watch how heaven responds to one whispered, faith-filled, unwavering yes. Type ISAYYES in the comments if you know this is your moment of activation. Blessing code 6655 has been ignited over your voice, your gifts, and your next chapter. There is a movement now occurring beyond the grasp of your natural understanding. While the world sleeps, while the noise dies down, while your mind struggles to make sense of the delays and disappointments, heaven is not still. In the silent chambers of the spirit realm, negotiations are unfolding. Angels have gathered. Scrolls are being unsealed. Blueprints are being reviewed. Names are being spoken, and yours is among them. Do not confuse silence with stagnation. Do not mistake lack of visible change for inactivity. While you rest, while you pray, while you wait with expectation, heaven is working on your behalf. There are silent exchanges happening. Things being transferred. Keys being handed over. Chains being broken. Quietly. Because this next release isn't arriving through fanfare. It's not coming in the way you imagined. It's coming in the stillness. It's coming in the quiet. It's coming through divine arrangement. It's coming as a holy reversal of everything that was stolen, twisted, and silenced in your previous season. You must understand the weight of what is happening around you right now. While you feel nothing, everything is shifting. While you see no movement, everything is being reordered. Some of the things you cried over, they were never meant to be answered in your strength. Because what you wept about on earth, heaven began to settle in secret. And what is unfolding now is the fulfillment of those silent exchanges. You didn't lose it. It's being returned. You didn't miss it. It's being restructured. You weren't forgotten. You were being reseated in the realm of spiritual priority. Yes, even now as you listen, angels are being dispatched to reestablish what your heart once gave up on. Conversations are happening about your name in dimensions you've never seen. Divine messengers have been released to deliver confirmation, timing, provision, and protection, all because of your obedience. All because you didn't curse God in the silence. All because you kept standing when surrender seemed easier. You were faithful with little. And now heaven is exchanging that quiet faithfulness for visible favor. This is the sacred transaction. What was held up is now being handed over. And not because you begged, not because you manipulated, but because you aligned. You aligned your voice. You aligned your emotions. You aligned your will. And now, your alignment is attracting the response that your striving never could. Let this sink in. Your spirit knew before your mind caught up. That's why you kept walking away from things that looked good but felt wrong. That's why you declined invitations others would have rushed toward. That's why you couldn't enjoy what others were celebrating. Because your spirit was already aware of it was coming. Your spirit knew the door. Your spirit sensed the holy exchange. And now, it is time for your mind, your heart, and your life to catch up with your spirit. You are not behind. You are not lost. You are not wandering. You are moving exactly according to the rhythm of heaven. And that rhythm is rarely loud. It doesn't make noise. It makes progress, in secret. And then suddenly, it reveals what was always in motion. That's what this is. A sudden unveiling of something that was always active, always alive, always building beneath the surface of your understanding. There is a peace now entering your atmosphere. Receive it. There is a restoration now resting over your name. Agree with it. There is a redemption now writing your past. Embrace it. You have stepped into the realm where nothing is wasted. Not the tears. Not the losses. Not the delays. Everything you thought was for nothing is now being accounted for in the economy of heaven. What was stolen is not just being replaced, it's being multiplied. What was denied is now being rewritten with favor. What was broken is now being reforged into something stronger than before. But hear this warning with love. Don't disturb the exchange. Don't speak prematurely. Don't act out of fear. Don't try to manipulate what God is arranging. This is a sacred negotiation between heaven and your destiny, and your only job is to stay positioned. Trust that God is not just restoring what you lost. He's securing what you didn't even know you were supposed to carry. So as you sleep, rest differently. Don't toss with fear, rest in confidence. Don't rehearse your failures, rest in expectation. Because the door that is opening does not need your effort. It needs your posture. And that posture is stillness. It is reverence. It is trust. Say this now with bold faith. I trust that heaven is working while I rest. Say it again, louder if you must. I trust that what is mine is returning. I trust that restoration is my portion. I trust that divine justice is moving silently on my behalf. These words are not just statements, they are seals. They are signals in the spirit. And every time you declare them, angels are reminded that you are in agreement. And agreement releases fulfillment. Let the world sleep, but you sleep in faith. Let your last words before rest be, it is already done. Because what's coming will need explanation. It will be evidence. And that evidence is on its way to you now. Type heaven is moving for me in the comments to seal this truth. Blessing code 8282 is now releasing restoration and divine return over your life. Now the tables are turning. Not tomorrow. Not next year. Now, the divine clock has struck. The silent suffering you endured has reached the ears of heaven. And justice, true justice, not the temporary kind man offers, is being enacted behind the veil. There is movement in the invisible. Movement that is pulling down what was built against you. Movement that is reversing verdicts restoring losses, and reclaiming the ground that was stolen from under your feet. The God of recompense has risen with fire in his eyes, and his judgment begins not with wrath, but with righteous reversal. What they meant for evil, what they schemed in the shadows, what they whispered in boardrooms, in group chats, in spiritual circles cloaked in religious language, it is being brought to the surface, not for your humiliation, but for their exposure. This is not vengeance born of bitterness. This is justice born of truth. And heaven is balancing the scales now. You need to hear this clearly. God is not passive. He is precise. Every act of betrayal, every lie that poisoned your name, every opportunity stolen from your hands, it is now being weighed in the balance, and the scales are tipping in your favor. Why? Because you did not retaliate when you could have. You didn't smear them when you had the evidence. You didn't weaponize your wound. You stood silently and waited. And because of that obedience, divine reversal has now been authorized. What once closed in your face is now being reopened with divine endorsement. The places that ignored your voice are now calling you back, but this time they will not be able to control the narrative, because the one who enters now is not the one they underestimated. The one walking through the door now is vindicated, elevated, and saturated in divine authority. They will watch you rise from what they tried to ruin. They will see the same person they disregarded, disrespected, and dismantled become the evidence of God's power. Not to shame them, but to show them that man cannot cancel what heaven has crowned. And let that be your peace. You do not need to fight for yourself. You do not need to make announcements. Your rise will speak for itself. Let every tear be accounted for. Let every sleepless night carry a return. Let every slanderous word now bear fruit, not as a curse, but as a multiplied blessing for your endurance. F-fold, vertifold, 100-fold. That's the currency of this hour. You will not just get back what you lost. You will receive more than you could have imagined. God is not just giving you your name back. He's giving you weight behind your name. What was once used as gossip will now carry glory. What was once treated lightly will now carry substance. Your name is no longer just a name. It is a signal in the spirit, a beacon, a trumpet sound, a prophetic symbol of God's faithfulness. This is divine justice. It is not just about enemies falling. It is about the truth rising, the truth about your character, the truth about your calling, the truth about your obedience. All of it is being brought to the surface, and what once seemed buried is now blooming in full view. Let every voice that mocked you hear heaven's answer. Let every eye that watched you fall now watch you rise. Let every heart that doubted you come to terms with what God has always known about you, because this is your turnaround, and not the kind that comes with hesitation. This is an unapologetic reversal. What you couldn't explain is now being divinely interpreted. What you couldn't defend is now being publicly affirmed. The light is shining not just on what was done to you, but on who you truly are. Say it now with power. God is reversing what was done in darkness. God is restoring me in full view. God is exalting me without me having to lift a finger. Let this word go deep. You don't need revenge. You are the proof. You are the justice. You are the reversal. You are the walking evidence that no lie, no sabotage, no demonic plot can stop the plans of God. And this is only the beginning. Let them watch. Let them wonder. Let them wrestle. Because your elevation is not coming through politics or manipulation. It is coming through pure favor. And no one can stand against favor sent from heaven itself. So keep your posture. Keep your peace. Keep your pace. God is not finished. A full circle moment is upon you. The very place where you were pushed out is where you will be called back in. The same voices that spoke against you will one day say, "Surely, the hand of the Lord is upon them." They will see the reversal, and they will know they didn't bury you. They planted you. And what they planted is now rising with resurrection fire. If this message resonates with you and you feel moved to support, consider giving a super thanks with contributions of up to $5. Your support fuels more powerful, spirit-led messages like this one. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating via PayPal using the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. Subscribe to this channel for more bold prophetic messages, divine timing insights, and heaven-sent guidance. Your next confirmation may be just one video away. Type "Divine Justice is mine" in the comments if you believe this is your hour of reversal. Blessing code 9999 is now sealing your rise with supernatural favor. And now, it is complete. You have heard the call. You have stood through the silence. You have endured the shaking. You have obeyed in the darkness, and now the light reveals what was always destined. The door is no longer waiting. It is open. It is ready. And more importantly, you are ready. Heaven speaks one final decree over you in this hour. You've waited. You obeyed. You've endured. Now walk. Walk with confidence. Walk with clarity. Walk with the knowing that every tear watered the soil beneath your feet. Walk like someone who has already been approved. You are no longer standing outside. You are being summoned inside. No more delay. No more permission seeking. No more shrinking back for the comfort of others. This is your divine hour, and you were born for this door. You've gone through the fire, and you didn't smell like smoke. You crossed through the valley, and you didn't collapse under the weight. You stared down the silence, the betrayal, the abandonment, and the unknown, and still you stood. And for that, heaven now releases this prophetic blessing over your life. You are sealed. You are seen. You are sent. Sealed by the Spirit. No one can revoke your access. No demon can deny your release. No tongue can reverse your calling. You are not what they said. You are not who you were. You are not bound to old cycles. The old labels no longer fit you. The old rooms can no longer contain you. You are sealed in a season of power. You are seen, not for the version they manufactured, but for the truth heaven knew from the beginning. Your name is written in glory. Your process was never wasted. You were hidden for a reason. You were kept for this unveiling. And now, God is lifting you in the sight of those who forgot, overlooked, or tried to redefine you. The world will now see what heaven always knew. You are chosen. You are sent, not aimlessly but with clarity. Not with questions, but with fire. Not with confusion, but with conviction. You are sent to speak, to build, to heal, to lead, to deliver, to declare, to demonstrate. You are not just walking through the door. You are the door for others behind you. You carry legacy. You carry lineage. You carry divine assignment. So step through with faith. Step through with authority. Step through with the assurance that heaven has gone before you. No matter what opposition waits on the other side, know this: the one who opened the door is the same one who will establish you beyond it. Say this now: I will not hesitate. I will not look back. I receive this moment. I step into my door. and I walk in power. Let this word echo in your heart as you go forward. You were born for this door. Type "I am walking through" in the comments if this message was yours. Blessing code 0000 is now releasing total confirmation over your calling, clarity, and kingdom assignment.